Live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM, myjoyonline.com. Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. In the next 60 minutes, the whole place is ready for you to occupy, words of President Akufo-Addo to John Mahama as he packs out of the Jubilee House ahead of the inauguration of President-elect John Dramani Mahama tomorrow.
Statute provides that the incumbent has to vacate these premises the day before. So the whole place is ready for your occupation, both here and the office. But I thought that it was important that we should do this formality.
We have details as 21 heads of state from Africa and beyond confirm the attendance at tomorrow's swearing-in ceremony.
Meanwhile, jostling and lobbying continues among National Democratic Congress MPs over who constitutes leadership of next parliament as names begin to emerge over who becomes second deputy speaker and majority leader less than 6 hours to inauguration.
Without the first deputy speaker, I can confirm, given some of authoritative persons I've spoken with, that the NDC MP for Catches House, Bernard Anyako, is said to be named as the first deputy speaker. Mahama may be the one who may be as the majority leader to lead the NDC caucus.
Coming up, fate of 3 MPs-elect for Kaikwe Central, Tema Central and Techiman South hang in balance as court bailiffs chase Speaker and Clerk of Parliament to serve a stay of execution on them with just hours to go for inauguration of 9th Parliament.
I'm aware that the bailiff of the court is in Parliament to effect the service on the Clerk of Parliament. But as you are aware, Parliament has been in a kind of prolonged meeting, today being the very last day. That's what I can confirm to you.
Also tonight, EC suspends collation of Ablekuma North parliamentary elections results for the second consecutive time after 7 presiding officers failed to show up and authenticate results from the 7 outstanding polling stations.
They didn't agree to the numbers. I'm emphatically saying that it is not true. Everybody who came here signed, if they are not aware.
And in business, government plans borrowing 24 billion Ghana cedis to finance the deficit for the first 3 months of this year.
And as well as we heard from the CEO of the Coastal Development Authority, Jerry Ahmed Shaib, who has been urging the incoming government to commit to completing the existing sporting facilities.
And also tonight, no pardon has been granted by President Akufo-Addo. Office of the President refutes report of presidential pardon of Atuesian and 10 others. We have details. And Ken, were you at the Pleasant Gardens for the 90s jam? Did you say no?
I wasn't.
Okay, you missed out big time when on March fun and energy. We danced and partied to timeless 90s tunes way into the early hours of Saturday morning.
I'm excited for
that and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. You want to join us with your thoughts, your comments via WhatsApp is 055-1111-997. You can leave the comments for us on all our social media platforms as well with the hashtag Newsnight. I am Emefa Apau.
And I am Kenneth Jesse. Details shortly.
Many thanks for your company. We start off from the office of the president, and a statement has been issued refuting claims of a presidential pardon by President Akufo-Addo. Earlier reports claimed a communication has been sent to the Council of State for advice on pardon for certain individuals, including defunct Capital Bank's MD Atuesian, who was sentenced to 15 years in prison by an Accra High Court in October 2023. Well, he was convicted of embezzling over 90 million Ghana cedis of the Bank of Ghana's liquidity support allocated to the now defunct financial institution. Well, the decision, we are told, follows his failure to fully repay the stated amount to the state, despite having agreed to do so and being afforded the opportunity. Ken, you have that statement from the presidency?
Yes, I do. It says the attention of the office of the president has been drawn to reports circulating in sections of the media suggesting that the president of the republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has granted a presidential pardon to certain individuals. We wish to categorically state that these assertions are inaccurate. No pardon has been granted by President Akufo-Addo. The public is kindly urged to disregard any contrary information and rely on official communications from the Office of the President. Signed by the Director of Communications at the Office of the President, Eugene Ahin.
And that statement does not address the issues about whether indeed any such communication was sent to the Council of State for any advice. And we've been working the lines to be able to reach Eugene Ahin on this for further comments on this matter, but so far unsuccessful.
Exactly. And the whole place is ready for your occupation. Words of President Akufo-Addo to John Mahama as he vacates the Jubilee House ahead of the swearing-in of President-elect John Mahama tomorrow. During a visit to the seat of government, President-elect Mahama expressed his gratitude to President Akufo-Addo for ensuring a smooth and cordial transition process. Maxwell Akbagba reports from the Jubilee House.
Advanced for Tuesday's ceremony. I can tell you that all the people who will be playing critical roles on the day are here today, busily working, even on a Sunday. We're privileged to have with us here the production designer here. He's going to tell us what the setup is like here, the 28th February road down to the Black Star Square here. It's all about the red, yellow, green, and then the Black Star, in the middle. But we have the Clerk of Parliament here with us. Let's speak to the Clerk of Parliament.
Preparations in advance. We are virtually done. It's just a matter of arranging the chairs, putting the rest of the carpet, tidying up the place, and then where we have to do the electrical works to ensure that microphones are working, everything is in order. Those are the fine details we have to do. Some embellishments here and there which cannot be done now. It should be close to the eve of the event. What happened last 4 years, obviously was an aberration. Nobody desires any such thing. This time around, it does appear that there are some numbers to really help make definitive decisions, barring any hiccups, which hiccups we would put our house in order to ensure that it doesn't occur. So once the Speaker is elected,
So you're not expecting tensions like we saw last 4 years?
We are not expecting, neither are we saying that the possibility of occurrence, neither are we denying the possibility of occurrence. But what we are saying is that it's not a hang parliament.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious. It's not a hang parliament. Once you don't have a hang parliament, it's for the members with the majority seats to organize themselves and to say this is where we are going. Unless there's a split amongst them and they want to have 2, 3, 4 nominations, then you go through votings and all that. But we are hoping that all those things will be minimized. So once those things are minimized, simply we'll go through the process, nominations will be invited, and we would, depending upon if there's just one nomination, the clerk will declare the person as having been duly elected. If there are more than one, we'll go by secret ballot and go through the process. And once a speaker is elected, the Chief Justice will be in Parliament, will be attending upon the House, ready to administer the oath.
So then, Ken, apologies there.
Yes.
I'd rather brought to you that sound of Maxwell Akbagba's interaction with the Clerk of Parliament, Ebenezer Ahuma Jetro, then that interaction with him at the Independence Square in terms of preparations.
Ahead of tomorrow.
Yes, we can now go back to the Jubilee House in that interaction between President-elect John Dramani Mahama and, of course, the outgoing President Akufo-Addo during that tour of the Jubilee House.
Here at the seat of government at the Jubilee House, with just some hours to the inauguration, President-elect John Mahama has been visiting the outgoing President Akufo-Addo here, and they've been having interactions. From the side of the outgoing government, we had President Akufo-Addo, the Chief of Staff, and other top officials who were also present there. So it was a brief interaction outside the presidential villa, then the word inside where they had a meeting behind closed doors. But the media was allowed to be there for about 2 minutes, where President Akufo-Addo told the President-elect John Mahama that the country is waiting for him to take over the mantle of leadership starting from tomorrow.
But this is by way of an old haunt of yours, so you're familiar with it. As you know, the statute provides that the incumbent has to vacate these premises the day before. So the whole place is ready for your occupation, both here and the office. But I thought that it was important that we should do this formality for the country to see that the whole process of the transition is working according to the letter and spirit of the law, and that we're now ready for your administration to take over the affairs of the country. So I'm very happy to see you. I think the work of the transition has now virtually been completed. They've had their final meeting. That's the information that I've had. I believe I'm right in saying that. And then all the other outstanding matters of the transition, Article 71, office holders, all these are now going to be dealt with by the Parliament. I've written to them my comments on the proposals that the Emoluments Committee sent to me. So we're in shape. The country is waiting for you as from tomorrow. So you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Madam Vice President-elect, you're welcome, and the rest of it.
President-elect John Mahama also thanked President Akufo-Addo for a smooth and cordial transition.
I want to thank you and your side of the transition team, Chief of Staff, for what has been a cordial and smooth transition. And we do think that we are quite ready, with the information we have to start to work immediately after we finish the inauguration tomorrow. It is conventional to meet on the last day and, as it were, take over the premises. The last time I was president, I didn't live here, and so you are the first occupant of this premises, even though I'm familiar with the geography of it. Yeah, but I want to thank you for what has been a smooth transition, and you can count on us, even in government, that will continue the spirit of cooperation.
You heard there the interaction between outgoing President Nana Akufo-Addo and incoming President John Dramani Mahama. Well, the Ministry of Information has released a statement updating Ghanaians on the presidential inauguration ceremony today, and my colleague Maxwell Agbaba joins us on the telephone line with details of that statement. Maxwell, what else is contained in the statement?
Yes, so the Ministry of Information has released that statement, and it says operations are underway and progressing steadily. We're told that a significant number of heads of state and foreign dignitaries have confirmed their attendance at the presidential inauguration ceremony. The numbers, we're told, 21 heads of state from Africa and beyond, 3 vice presidents, 4 ministers, and 24 envoys. And the Minister of Information says it appreciates the overwhelming support and solidarity from the international community and look forward to working with them. There's also a bit of information about some temporary roads closure in Accra and then traffic diversion. We're told that to ensure a secure and smooth presidential inauguration ceremony, some roads in some parts of Accra will be closed temporarily. We are told affected areas are the Osu to Parliament House stretch, AU roundabout, any access road to Parliament area from EC to the middle of the Parliament House, security area at Parliament House, and then road from Osu Cemetery to Parliament. All of these roads, we are told, will be temporarily closed tomorrow. Now, we're told traffic open only to parliamentarians, workers at the Parliament, and their vehicles only. Now, Independence Square also, the 28th February road from the SEPS headquarters to Castle Road Junction, Osu Cemetery traffic light on the local street, Castle Road from AU Circle to Osu Cemetery traffic lights, and then the Starlet 91 road will be closed at the Ministry's traffic light intersection. And then there's also information on traffic diversion tomorrow. Traffic from the 28th February road emanating from Laboni and Usu towards the Central Business District will be diverted into the Salem Avenue traffic lights at the Castle traffic lights to link up with Oxford Street. Now, traffic from the John Evans Mills High Street towards Black Star Square will also be diverted onto the Liberia Road at the SEPS headquarters traffic light to the National Theatre traffic light. It goes on to provide more information on the traffic diversions, and it says the temporary roads closure is necessary to facilitate the safe passage of dignitaries and the general public attending the inauguration ceremony. Motorists are advised to use alternative routes and follow traffic directives from security personnel. It concludes by apologizing for any inconvenience that this may cause to motorists.
And Maxwell, of course, you've been to the event grounds. That's the Black Star Square today. How ready is the place for the event tomorrow?
Well, all is set. All is set for the event to take place. The Clerk of Parliament told us that what will happen today is all the finishing touches that they would have to complete today will be done this evening. And it's likely that when you go there this evening, you will not even get access to the inner perimeter. It doesn't matter if you're a journalist or not. You're told the place will be locked because all the essential materials and equipment that will be needed for a successful ceremony tomorrow, all of them will be sent to the place this evening. And it will be important for them to lock the place. That's information we're given by the Clerk of Parliament. The roads, the lampposts, the roads leading to the Black Star Square where the ceremony will be taking place is all adorned in the colors of the national flag, red, yellow, green, with a black star in the middle. And we're told that security personnel will be stationed there throughout the night, like they've been doing since preparations started.
Maxwell Akbaba there, thank you very much. And the Ghana Police Service has, in the last few minutes, also released a statement on security preparations ahead of tomorrow. My colleague James Aveji joins me in studio with excerpts of that statement. James, tell us more.
Well, into the number of roads, Maxwell indicated that the police will be blocking. They said they will be providing parking space at several locations, including the forecourts of the State House in Accra, Ifya, Sutherland Park as well, and the premises of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture for those who will be coming in with their private vehicles to use those spaces as parking lots for tomorrow. They also encouraging the public to attend the event without any fear of security threats. Meanwhile, they are assuring that security is top-notch as the Ghana Police Service is prepared to ensure that there is the safety and order of everyone who attends the event tomorrow as President-elect John Mahama is sworn in tomorrow.
And James will be on the ground himself tomorrow.
We're starting tonight, actually.
Okay, tonight, giving us all the updates from there. But since we're talking about the inauguration, Ken, I think we should go to Parliament now. They've been sitting. There have been a lot of talk, goodbyes by the leadership and the Speaker. Dissolution will happen later at midnight tonight, but there's intense jostling and lobbying among NDC members of Parliament over who constitutes leadership in the next Parliament. We know that the constitution of a new majority leadership is in anticipation of that particular inauguration of a new and 9th Parliament a few hours from now after the dissolution of the 8th Parliament. Well, names have already begun popping. I'm sure you've heard some of them as to who becomes the first Deputy Speaker after the election of a Speaker by midnight. Of course, Alban Bagbing is in pole position to becoming the very second Speaker of Parliament to retain that title for the second term. And let's bring in Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kwekwa Sante, giving us all the updates on the lowdown on what exactly is happening in Parliament. We've heard you talk about what transpired in Parliament a while ago on Top Story. We'll get to some of the details shortly. But first, let's talk about some of the names that have come up in terms of who becomes the first Deputy Speaker or who constitutes the leadership of the 9th Parliament for the majority side.
So as regards the majority leadership, it's been very difficult getting anything. And in fact, in a very unprecedented way, as of now, the NDC has yet to put out a statement confirming who exactly will be at its front bench. The last Parliament, prior to Parliament being sworn in, there was a statement outlining that Haruna Iddrisu and co were forming the leadership of the NDC side for the 8th Parliament. This time around, there's been nothing. And in fact, I've been digging so deep that I've been trying to find some names. Some names have been coming up, and I've been getting some names repeatedly. And it's obvious to me that a certain decision has been taken that Mahama Yariga may be the next majority leader, but that has not been firmed up, and no one is willing to give you anything concrete, except to say that that is the name that is leading the pack. Although Winter Kamuba has also come up quite strongly himself for someone who will perhaps lead the majority side for the next Parliament. And so as we speak, in a very unprecedented way, when the new Parliament is to be sworn in, it is expected that Dr. Kisila Soposa will still be in the majority leader's chair, although it is all set that he will not be the majority leader for the next Parliament. And because the party is yet to firm up a name and yet to communicate that publicly, then I find the current front bench will be seated there at 11 p.m. at 12 midnight when a new Parliament is sworn in. But the indication I'm getting is that Mahama Yariga is looking increasingly likely as the person who will become the next majority leader. As regards to the other roles, Bernard Ahiafo, the NDC MP for Akachi South, is set to become the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament when the members-elect who will take that chair at 11 p.m. today. And so he will be there. When it comes to the second Deputy Speaker, the conversation now is whether or not to quote-unquote punish the NPP or allow them to take that position. We'll recall that in 2005, the NDC did something when they nominated the then Speaker, Right Honorable Peter Alajeti, even when President Kufuor and the NPP had nominated Bejina Seti, he used to take over from him. And so when Alajeti lost, the NPP decided to punish the NDC by giving the first deputy speakership position to Freddie Blay, who was then the CPP member of Parliament, and then took also the second deputy speakership position. So between 2005 and 2009, the NDC did not have any of the speakership, and so that is the indication we are getting that there's a lot of talk among the NDC MPs that perhaps the second deputy speakership position should be given to one of the 4 independent MPs who are coming in. But as of now, there is no indication as to whether or not the party will be doing that, or they will allow the NPP side to nominate perhaps Andrew Amwakro-Siama, who is currently the second deputy speaker, to be in that chair. So when it comes to the names, that is what we are getting. Alban Bagwin all but set to become the speaker for the 9th Parliament, because we don't expect the NPP to nominate someone else. The incoming president has given a mandate to the NDC to nominate Alban Bagwin as the next speaker. And then the party will also confirm first deputy speaker for Akachi South MP Bernard Ahiafo. The second deputy speakership position, nothing confirmed. And the leadership of the majority itself also, with intense jostling currently happening, they are going to have the unprecedented situation where persons who would truly and actually not be the leaders take the seat as a stopgap measure as the party resolves the challenges with naming 5 persons to lead the front bench of the NDC in the next Parliament.
And since you've been talking about Speaker, Ken and I have been itching to find out if you need.
Exactly. Quickly, I want to find out from you. We all know that the president-elect has already given indication that Alban Bagwin should be maintained as a speaker. But are there any indications whether the incoming minority will also bring up some nominations?
I spoke to one very senior NPP MP who told me that they have 88 MPs. It's not a gamble they are willing to take, because if they were to nominate someone which was to force this election to a secret ballot, they will need close to 50 NDC MPs or more to join them to be able to defeat Alban Bagwin. This is something they recognize is almost an uphill task that they cannot meet, for which reason, as of now, that is not going to be done. If you look at the standing order says, for someone to be nominated as Speaker of Parliament, that person must consent to that nomination in writing to the Clerk of Parliament. As of now, I have indication that Alban Bagwin has consented to be nominated at 11 p.m. today to be the Speaker of the 9th Parliament. But there is no other person who has written to the Clerk of Parliament for that purpose, which will mean that only Alban Bagwin will be the person who will be in consideration for the 9th Parliament. And if you look at the standing orders where only one person is nominated, that person will be deemed elected. So Alban Bagwin has a really clear path for that. One other reason why the NPP side will not take that gamble is that if they take the gamble, it is all about certain that they will lose. But that will embolden the NDC side to deny them the second deputy speakership position and perhaps give it to a first-timer who is coming in as an independent MP. It's not a gamble they are willing to take. And so I can confirm to you that no other person will be nominated apart from Alban Bagwin for the speakership of the 9th Parliament.
Okay. Well, just before we let you off, Kweku, though, we know that Parliament has been sitting the 8th Parliament in preparation for the 9th Parliament. Give us a rundown as to what to expect. This was not a dissolution in itself. When exactly will it be dissolved? At midnight? What exactly are the details?
Yes, the dissolution process was started, and because the Parliament is elected for 4 years, that 4 years must come, and the 4 years of the 8th Parliament will expire on the midnight of 7th of January. And so as we speak, Parliament is all but dissolved. Technically, Parliament will not do anything between now and midnight. That is the 8th Parliament. They will not do anything about the 8th Parliament when a new Parliament will be sworn in. In fact, as I speak, the chamber has been locked, and I got some indication the chairs are being rearranged for the seating for the 9th Parliament. And so at about 8 or 9 p.m. when the chambers are opened, you will see that the NDC side will have their 188 seats arranged for them, and the NPP side will have 88. The 4 independent MPs will have to communicate to the Speaker of Parliament which of the 2 caucuses they want to do business with. And the way the standing orders are arranged, they must caucus with either the minority or majority side. We can only have an independent caucus where they are up to 7. If they are up to 7, they can decide to form an independent caucus where we can have the minority, majority, and independent caucus. Because they are 4, they have to decide on who to caucus with. We already have indication where they are all going. The 2 independent MPs elected from their farm place and one from the northern part of the country have already indicated that they are NDC members, card-bearing members, and they're going to caucus with the NDC. A+, the Member of Parliament elect for the Gomoa Central Constituency, has also indicated that he's in talk with both political parties. In fact, he made an allegation that the MPP side had reached out to him to caucus with them. The party has denied him. He said he had a meeting with the NDC earlier today. And he had also indicated that he leans towards the NDC and he wishes to caucus with them. The Member of Parliament elect for Asante North also has also indicated that he wants development for his constituency, for which reason he will caucus with the NDC. So all those 4 have indicated that they will join the NDC. But if the president said in the 8th Parliament is anything to go by, he has to put this in writing to the Speaker of Parliament, deciding that they are going left or right, and that will be done. So from now up until 12 midnight, the 8th Parliament will not do any other business. As we speak, like I said, the chamber is being reconstituted, remodeled for the 8th Parliament. We'll get to see. If you come to Parliament, they have 4 pews. The NDC side is going to take 3 of those 4, and leave 1 for the MPP side, who have 88 as we speak. We're currently the Ablikuma North constituency also not declared. So that is the situation. But the 8th Parliament will stand dissolved, properly so-called, at the stroke of midnight, 7 January.
That's Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante, all fired up for that dissolution, amongst others.
And of course, Trust Joy News to bring you a comprehensive coverage of all that is going to happen from tonight until tomorrow, from the dissolution of the 8th Parliament to the inauguration of the 9th Parliament to the inauguration of the President-elect tomorrow as well. And I've been joined on the telephone lines by the Deputy Head of our Political Desk, Winston Amwa, who will be detailing what to expect tonight. Winston, walk us through what to expect in terms of Joy News' coverage of the ushering in of the 9th Parliament and, of course, the inauguration of President-elect John Mahama.
Well, so Kweku Asante has actually told you that, Parliament would reconvene at 11 p.m. and for the election of a speaker, and then by 12 midnight, the members of Parliament for the 9th Parliament will be sworn in. We're starting our coverage at 9 p.m. tonight. And, just as you were talking to Kweku Asante, it just occurred to me that, I don't know whether you know this, MFI and Ken, but in 2001, do you know that J.H. Mensah wanted to be Speaker of Parliament, and at a meeting with J. Akufo, there are some NPP members of Parliament who had proposed Papa Usuankoma as the majority leader. Mm-hmm. You aware of that?
Yes, we are. You are telling us also, so tell us more.
Okay, great. And so you just stay with us, because at 9 p.m. we're going to tell you everything you need to know about the processes. You're talking about what may happen, what may not happen. The other question you need to find answers to would be, for those members of Parliament whose seats are in contention, what happens to them? What is Speaker Bagbin likely to do? We'll give answers to all of you. As I already indicated, we start at 9 p.m. We'll continue until members of Parliament are sworn in. And then tomorrow, we'll continue with the inauguration of John Dramani Mahama as President of the Republic of Ghana.
Right. And you trust the team, of course. Winston Amwa, Raymond Akwa, Samson Ladia, the entire team will be on tonight, and you can't miss it. They'll be on all the way till the President-elect is inaugurated tomorrow. This is Joy News, your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Do stay with us.
And then while still staying on the nomination of Alban Bagbin, or the confirmation of Alban Bagbin likely as the next speaker, the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Osewusu, has criticized the President-elect's communication on the matter, insisting that it may undermine the independence of Parliament. He spoke to MFAPO on the probe last night.
If you read the statement put out by Felix Ovozugbachi, it's suggesting that Parliament is an appendix of the executive, the President in consultation with. It suggests that the President who is taking the decision. Parliament is an arm of government. The president may influence who leads parliament, but he should not make it appear as if it's the president who is deciding who and he is consulting with others. I think that communication was inappropriate. It shouldn't be presented as if it is the president who is choosing the speaker and is consulting with other people. No. Eventually, it is parliament that will endorse whoever is nominated, but we should just leave the nomination, we should leave the president out of the nomination because it gives the wrong impression about parliament as an independent arm of government.
Of course, MFR, when you spoke to Felix Kwakye-Ofosu last night, he disagreed with Joseph Osei-Owusu.
Okay. I can say with 100% certainty that there's no way Professor Michael Kui would have become Speaker of Parliament if President Akufo-Addo had not given the go-ahead. I think that we must avoid this kind of duplicity in public commentary. Let us not pretend that what is the case is not the case. The only difference is that now a public statement has been put out affirming what we all know to be the case. In terms of the decision making as to whether or not Honorable Bagbin becomes, or Right Honorable Bagbin becomes Speaker, it is within the purview of NDC members of Parliament to do so. If we disagree with the choice, we will vote against him. If we agree, as I believe we do now, we will vote for him. So I don't think that these misgivings in themselves invalidate what has happened. That is what has happened all this while. I don't think that necessarily means that Parliament suddenly is in the pockets of the executive. Of course, genuine concern has been expressed about the way that parliamentary business has been carried on over the years. But there are other reasons that account for that, other than the nomination or who the speaker is. Indeed, he himself has said that the speaker, in fact, is not a member of parliament. Yes. The speaker does not take part in decision making. At most, he is only an arbiter. Okay. I think there is something that we need to accept. Perhaps you can call for a reform in the way that this is done as part of the process to strengthen parliament. That for me, would be a valid call. We can.
Right, and then still on the parliamentary affairs, Ghana's first parliamentary museum, which offers an immersive journey through the nation's rich political history, from the wigs and gowns of Gold Coast legislators to artifacts that shape the country's democratic journey. The museum provides a rare glimpse into the evolution of governance and lawmaking in Ghana. Speaker Bagbin was there, MFR, and he shared a few words.
Well, in that short inaugural ceremony, the Speaker, Alban Bagbin, who spearheaded the project, said, with an expected 17,000 visitors annually, the institution promises to be a cornerstone of civic education to visitors so they can appreciate the legacy of Ghana's democracy.
The museum will also play a crucial role in civic education, helping our children, students and citizens in general to understand the importance of parliamentary procedures, the significance of their voices and votes, and the weight of those voices and votes in the democracy. So that they don't see democracy as just voting and going back to sleep. It is important to note that on the average, Parliament receives about 17,000 visitors per year, on the average. As a matter of policy, such visitors will be encouraged to visit the museum moving forward.
Now, the chairman of the board of the museum, Richard Ichampong, explains what to expect when you visit it.
Mr. Speaker, your museum tells the story of the origins of our legislature, starting from the days of the Asifalo societies, where governance rested on the shoulders of tribal leaders before the advent of the Europeans, through when the Europeans settled in our land and started trading with us, to colonization, the struggle for independence, the attainment of independence, and the parliamentary life in the various republics thereafter, with a focus on the Fourth Republic. Various artifacts, including gowns, wigs, hats, press curtains, and other printed materials, along with infographics, have been collected for the purpose and displayed within the space. The Speaker, various stories and biographies germane to the rich history of Ghanaian politics have also been compiled and QR coded to enhance patrons' experience at the museum. Head and shoulder portraits of speakers of all the legislatures of the Gold Coast and later Ghana have also been ordered, and a few of them that have been delivered have been displayed in the space, waiting for the rest to also go into the space. The remaining will be displayed as soon as they are received.
Well, it's time for business, but still to come, we tell you how the fate of 3 MPs-elect for Kaikwe Central, Tema Central and Techiman South hang in the balance as court bailiffs chase Speaker and Clerk of Parliament to serve stay of execution hours to the inauguration of the new Parliament. George is here with the latest in business. George?
Well, coming up in business, government plans borrowing 24 billion Ghana cedis to finance the budget deficit for the first 3 months of this year. And Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison pushes for laws to compel government to pay debt owed the central bank within a year. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials. President and Synthesis Tanks. You welcome back to business on Newsnight. The government could be borrowing some 24 billion Ghana cedis for the first 3 months of this year to finance the budget deficit. Now, this was captured in the 2025 mini budget presented to Parliament last week. There is more in the following Business Desk report.
From the amount government is planning to borrow from January to March this year, about 4 billion cedis will come from external sources, while 5.7 billion should be done through other borrowings. Project loans will bring in some 1 billion cedis. About 4.6 billion cedis should come from the IMF for the first quarter of this year. Domestic borrowing in terms of bonds, treasury bills, government is targeting to raise about 20 billion cedis through this avenue. The mini budget also showed that government is hoping to end 2025 with the value of the economy pegged at 1.2 trillion cedis.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison is pushing for laws to be passed that will compel government to settle all debt owed the central bank within a year. The governor maintains that this might be one of the surest ways to reduce any serious loss in the future that could hit the central bank. The Bank of Ghana Governor has been speaking to Joy Business.
So I don't buy into that argument that the Bank of Ghana needs to be made more independent. I think the Bank of Ghana can operate effectively as is. What I do buy is to put into place, reforms in the Act which would ensure that when governments borrow, they pay. Because what you see is that in the books of the Bank of Ghana, there are borrowings which go back as far back as the PNDC days that have not been paid, right? So when you say that, Bank of Ghana lost 60 billion. The 60 billion was not borrowed in 1 year. These are borrowings that have come since PNDC days. So you just have to break down out of that 60 billion, how much of it was 1970 to 80, how much was that from 1980 to 90, how much of that was for 1990 to 2000, etc., etc., etc. You understand? So once we are able to put into place the reforms which force governments to pay back in the same year, then you will not accumulate debt over the number of years, as it has been done, over the last 20 or 25 years.
And that is the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison. Let's still stay with the central bank, because the Bank of Ghana will be holding its first Monetary Policy Committee meeting, that is this year, from January 22 to 24th. 2025. The committee is then expected to announce their decision of the policy rate on Monday, January 27, 2025. That committee, and that will be the last meeting that is given us an idea. At the last meeting, the committee actually kept the policy rate at 27%. That is last year. We'll get a fair idea about the new policy rate on Monday, January 27, 2025. Now, some commercial banks have expressed optimism about a strong sector despite the change in government. Managing Director of Republic Bank Ghana, Benjamin Jukunubu, is more effort that needs to be put in place in reducing risk and improving on some key areas to support the growth of the local economy. He spoke to Joy Business after signing an agreement between the bank and the Liberian Bank for Development and Investment.
This year you see Republic Bank results. I think we had a good year last year, and therefore we expect our results to be great. I believe we'll be hovering over 9.5 billion in total assets, moving from 6 billion last year. We expect our profit to be over 200 million, starting from 145 million last year. And therefore, we achieved a great result last year. We expect this year, even though we have a new government, we believe that if you have the skill set, no matter how big the economic fundamentals, you need to have the plans to be able to meet the external factors. So far as your internal factors are solid and strong, you don't need to be worried about whatever that will happen in the economy. And therefore, despite the DDEP, you realize that Republic Bank Ghana solid, strong.
Benjamin Juguku is the managing director of Republic PLC Ghana. Now, pension analyst Abdullah Mashood, an executive director for the African Center for Retirement Research, has described as inadequate the monthly increase in pensions to contributors as announced by the State Pension Trust today. Now, the trust today announced a 12% increase in the average monthly payment from January this year. Now, he says that they could have done better than what they offered to pensioners.
That this is a very sad day for majority of them. A significant proportion of them would not be happy with the fixed rate of 8% awarded to them against an inflation that is averaging 23% in 2024. For me, the indexation rate announced today is yet another action by the outgoing government that will plunge more old age people into considerable hardship or poverty. The living standards of Ghanaian pensioners is fast declining. Their social and economic well-being is deteriorating in significant proportions. And the announced increment will further widen the social and economic inequality between the rich and the poor. Generally, any pension indexation mechanism that fails to match pension increment rates to changes in prices of goods and services is practically driving old age pensioners into poverty.
And pension analyst Abdullah Mashood, an executive director for the African Center for Retirement Research, talking about that 12% increase by the State Pension Trust for pensioners starting from the end of this month for this year. And that's all for business on Newsnight. And it's time for sports.
Yeah, well, great interview with the Bank of Ghana.
Thank you.
Governor there. Well, in sports, the Bukom AstroTurf has been reopened after its reconstruction by Oxygen Capital Group. Now, the facility, which was funded by the Coastal Development Authority, was first renovated into a modern facility in 2020, and the government one constituency won AstroTurf. However, the facility deteriorated following misuse by locals. Now, upon request by the some community leaders in 2022, the authority initiated a plan to refurbish the facility. Now, this was completed and commissioned today. Speaking at the commissioning, CEO of the Coastal Development Authority, Jerry Ahmed Shaibu, urged the community members to prioritize high maintenance culture.
This is a park which this is the second time we are doing it in 4 years. In somewhere 2021, 2022, this park was virtually done, but the people were left to manage it on their own. They played football virtually 24/7. And the park became very deteriorated. My advice to them is that they should allow for proper maintenance and management, because if they allow Oxygen Capital to run it the way it has to be run, it is for them. It is for the young people who are coming up as footballers. It's for those who want to have wedding programs and other social activities here. It's for them.
Jerry Ahmed Shaibu. Well, the Azuma Nelson Sports Complex is one of the youth resource centers which were not completed by the Akufo-Addo government. While the CEO of the Coastal Development Authority and member of Parliamentary-elect for Wejagbawe constituency, Jerry Ahmed, also urged the incoming government to commit to the completion of these sports projects.
It's for us as governments in and out to understand that it's a continuum. So wherever you find yourself, understand that if I'm building a facility, and you have done your analysis properly, and it is not a facility that's going to cost you more to proceed in building and finishing and completing and handing over, the onus is on you to finish, because that's what the people want. One of which is the Agenda 111. One of which is what you have just talked about, the Azuma Nelson Sports Facility, Stadium. There is no reason why a government should abandon it.
Well, MFA, wait to see if those facilities will be completed by the incoming government. That's what we have for you, Kenneth, in sports. I'm sure we have something in sports in the inauguration tomorrow. Right?
Indeed. Thank you very much, Musbao. Let's now take you to your election headquarters. Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, Chopbox Technology, a convenient service, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants CIMA, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants AICPA, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gaps for positive youth development. Syntex Tanks, Air Strong, Air Tough, Potential Real Estate, your trusted partner in real estate. Deluxe Paints, Paints Mu Champion. And your election headquarters is also brought to you by McDan Group of Companies and Werner Water. And tonight, the fate of 3 MPs-elect for Okaikwe Central, Tema Central, and Techiman South hang in balance as court bailiffs pursues Speaker and Clerk of Parliament to serve stay of execution on the inauguration of the 3. Out of 3, Patrick Buama, Charles Forson, and Martin Ajay Mensah-Kosa were declared winners from another collation of results after a High Court granted a mandamus application filed by the MPP. The NDC, however, have gone to the appeals court to secure a stay of execution on the High Court judgment. Now, tonight, the NDC is seeking to serve the process on the Speaker and the Clerk to Parliament to block the swearing-in of these 3 MPs-elect in just a few hours. Listen to Director of Legal Affairs for the NDC, Eduji Tamaklo.
Court is in Parliament to effect the service on the Clerk of Parliament. But as you are aware, Parliament has been in a kind of prolonged meeting, today being the very last day. So that's what I can confirm to you. And to also let you know that the mandamus judgments are the subject of Supreme Court action. Yes.
Have you been able to file that with the Supreme Court?
Yes.
And
we have filed
it.
Yes, we have filed it.
Has the court set any date to sit on it?
There, to effect the filing. Yeah.
Has the court set any date to hear this case?
The indication from the registrar is immediately will be informed. But what was written on the motion paper is date yet to be fixed.
But the MPs involved, you indicated that as we speak, there's still an attempt to serve the Speaker and the Clerk if proceeding ends. The MPs involved, have you served them as well?
The attempt was made to serve them, but it has been, as it were, difficult to effect the service on them. Nonetheless, the Electoral Commission came to court today, having filed an affidavit in opposition. That can only be on the basis that they have been duly served.
Do you expect, does that mean that the MPs-elect involved will be sworn in Parliament this late tonight? Or what do you expect to happen?
Some of the reliefs that we are seeking goes directly to the clerk. So I don't see how and why they should be sworn in.
So you expect that if the clerk is served, Speaker is served, they should not be sworn in?
The appropriate will be taken. At least we must respect the due process.
And of course, we have a major breaking news coming through from the office of the President-elect. MFA, what is he saying?
Well, so it's a statement of another set of appointments. We know that earlier there was appointments for the security sector, and this one is signed by the special aide to the President-elect, Felix Kwachufus, when he says the President-elect, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has made the following appointments in the office of the President. We have Julius Debra, Chief of Staff, Dr. Callistus Mahama, Executive Secretary to the President, Prosper Douglas Bani, Head of Interim Security Task Force, Dr. Valerie Sawyer, Senior Presidential Advisor, Governmental Affairs. We have Augustus Guzi Tano, Presidential Advisor, responsible for 24-hour economy and accelerated export development. We have Marietta Ejewa Brew, Legal Counsel to the President of Ghana. Felix Kwachiofosu, Acting Spokesperson to the President. So these appointments, we are told, take effect from Tuesday, January 7, 2025. I'll go through it again.
Yeah.
We have Julius Deborah, Chief of Staff. Dr. Callistus Mahama, Executive Secretary to the President. Prosper Douglas Bani, Head of Interim Security Task Force. Dr. Valerie Sawyer, Senior Presidential Advisor, Governmental Affairs. Augustus Guzi Tano, Presidential Advisor responsible for 24-hour economy and accelerated export development. Marietta Ejewa Brew, Legal Counsel to the President of Ghana. Felix Kwachiofosu, Acting Spokesperson to the President. And this is signed by Special Aide Felix Kwachiofosu, incoming Acting Spokesperson to the President. And these appointments, we're told, take effect from Tuesday, January 7, 2025, obviously after the inauguration.
Right, interesting development coming in there, but let's bring you more stories tonight as the Electoral Commission's returning officer for Ablekuma North constituency, Vincent Obin, has for the second consecutive time suspended collation of parliamentary results in the constituency. Now, the decision was arrived at after 7 presiding officers failed to appear in person at the Regional Collation Center to testify and authenticate results from the 7 outstanding polling stations. Vincent Obin has since referred the matter to the headquarters of the Electoral Commission to take the final decision. The following report has more. For the second consecutive time, the collation of the Ablekuma North constituency parliamentary results have been suspended. Well, the reason is that they were expecting 20 presiding officers to be present here to append their signatures to match with the ones they appended when they certified the results. But 7 out of those 20 failed to show up. And due to that reason, all parties involved have agreed to suspend it. Officer for Ablekuma North, Vincent Obin, has had to suspend the process and referred it to the Electoral Commission's headquarters.
That's why I said I'm referring to the commission. Now, let me also make this statement. I heard NDC making claim that the returning officers who came here, presiding officers, 3 of them said they didn't agree to the numbers. I'm emphatically saying that it is not true. Everybody who came here signed. If they are not aware, everybody who came here signed. All of you media, you were here. You saw it. So that statement is not true. The NDC will take their decision.
Well, the National Democratic Congress started raising a number of concerns when the process started.
They called in their POs, presiding officers, to come and authenticate the scanned pink sheets. To my surprise, when I entered, you brought in POs. You called them. As a party, how are we able to ascertain this is the real person who is going to do the authentication? They didn't come here with any ID card for us to know this is the real person in question. And I can tell you on authority, this is pure charade.
There was a bit of disagreement between all parties, but calm was finally restored. The Electoral Commission will obviously be racing against time to make a final decision on what to do next. From the Regional Collation Center, my name is Kenneth Jesse, for joining.
And Ken, so you were there. You've been there the whole weekend up until now, taking over from James Abeji at the Recollation Center. Really, when exactly are we going to? That's my constituency. I want to know when I'll get an MP.
Indeed. Well, they are yet to tell us when it is going to resume. Yesterday, they told us that today's zone was going to take less than 24 hours. This one, they didn't give us a specific time, but we want to believe that it's going to follow the same time.
Okay. I know you are not a 90s baby. When you are the 90s jam, you were not there.
I wasn't.
Can you even dance, Ken?
I can, never. I can dance. My God.
Okay,
Didn't you see my dance the last time?
Which one? The dance you're dancing like you're or something. Well, if you missed out on the 90s jam, well, we partied all the way into the early hours of Saturday. In fact, I want us to have a 90s jam every month.
Yes.
And people are asking for the Y2K. Kofi Efod is in the studios getting ready. I think you should bring back Y2K. Are we bringing Y2K this year? Sometime. It can't be sometime. We are waiting for Y2K as well so that we satisfy all. But Maxwell Agbagba,
yes.
In fact, the whole party was for him.
He enjoyed himself and then also interviewed others.
Attire for it.
My God.
Well, we leave you with Maxwell Agbagba's report. I am MFR Pao.
And I am Kenneth Jesse.
Yeah, a lot. Everybody in the place. Did you hear that? Everybody in the place right now. Everybody in the place right now. Hey, everybody in the place now, stand up. Let me hear say, oh. Say, oh. Okay. Sing.
Maniatina.
Stop whatever you're doing.
Hi, what's your name? My name is Brian. Tell me, are you having fun? I'm having excited fun. I'm enjoying myself. This is the 90s. I'm in the 90s.
Say,
I sing along. Ada Umatia. Udaya ne kumyo. Sabi shaswa. Obiara ti sewo. Waiting lady who front. Anwa ne kumyo. Sabi shawicha. Okay.
We're having great fun here. I can't even contain the fun. It's too much for me. So you need to de-stress, and this fun is healthy.
Generation team enjoy 90s music. What's up?
I'm having fun, but I don't know most of the songs, but I'm going with the vibe. I'm just dancing, having good time.
Thank you, Marilyn and then Eva Maria too as well. We're still reliving music back from the 90s. Programs manager Adam 90 right now. Yeah. It's all fun, here at the Pleasant Gardens. Let's talk to her. Hello, Adam. Glad to see you. I can see you having a lot of fun.
I kidding, we're jamming.
And you see all people here, the crowd here, grooving to the music. Started at 8 p.m. Nobody's stopping. All of them still dancing. How excited are you to see this?
I am excited. That's what we want. We just want to create the ambience and the platform for people to be happy and be excited and make merry. And I am just excited to see everybody happy, really.
90s, what was it like? Any memories you want to share with us? Any fun memories from the 90s?
Back in school, when we used to have entertainment on Fridays. All right. And I remember those times there was a lot of the Mr. Bombastic. I love it. I'm waiting to hear it.
Since Bill is here, the host of the Drive Time Show, Enjoy. He's having a good time, Lexix, tell me, what is the feeling like?
Max, it's feeling so good. I mean, the feeling is amazing. You can tell there's a great party in here. Everybody's having fun. Aren't you having fun?
I'm having a lot of fun.
Ghanaians had to wait one whole year for this party. And as always, we had to actually dot all the I's and cross the T's and make sure we pull up the biggest party of the year. It's the first party of the year, and obviously it's going to be the biggest of 2025. I'm so happy seeing our listeners and our wonderful, discerning viewers also having so much fun. A lot of people have let loose. They are feeling comfortable.
When I say DJ, you say block. DJ. Joy 99.